keep an eye out for my next video where I remove the parent optical V2 MOSFET and replace it with a mechanical Leviathan V2 MOSFET. So in this video, I'm gonna just quickly go over the basics of building a Frankentorque. But first I thought I'd do this quick demonstration. So I've got two motors here. They both have the same Tpa armature, but this motor has ferrous magnets and this motor here has good quality neo magnets. So I just want to give you a demonstration. So you can see that's got a tiny bit of kick. And if I do the same with this motor, you'll see the difference in the torque. So you just need to be really careful if you do something like this with this type of motor, because it does have a lot of torque. It can just spin right out of your hands and twist all your wires up. So you can see there the difference in the torque. That's trying to jump out of my hands. So you can see the difference between the Frankentorque with a 28 Tpa and just your normal type of motor with a 28 Tpa. So building a Frankentorque motor is actually quite simple if you have the right parts and you have the basic fundamental knowledge of building a motor. I guess the two key things you do need though are good quality neo magnets, and I can't stress that enough. You can't use low quality ones because you'll just not get the right performance. So you can see there they're nice and silver. If you see my other video, you'll see that the neo magnets that I had were very poor quality and we ended up with very, very poor performance. But these ones are very good and they are very strong. So you need really good neo magnets. And number two, you need high Tpa armatures, either 28 or 32. So if you don't know what the 28 stands for, it's how many times that wire is wrapped around that part of the armature. So there's 28 wraps, and then 28 wraps, and then 28 wraps, and that's how you get 28 turns per armature. And the exact same principle on this one, which is 32. So the higher the Tpa, the higher the torque. So we've got 28 and 32, so you need to have high Tpa armatures. And when I first started, I was doing a lot of research on the airsoft forums and just trying to work out what I needed for a Frankentorque and where I could get it. So what I was basically doing was buying motors, two of them at a time, and then on one of them I would pull it apart and I would cut the wire, and then I would actually unwrap it and count the windings, and then I would measure the wire diameter. So if I get this working, so that there is 0.6 millimeters, and that had 32 wraps of the wire around the armature. So I know that was 32 Tpa, and through all my research, I've kind of come to the conclusion that anything that's around 0.6 millimeter is around your 32 Tpa, and your 28 Tpa, you're looking at about 0.65. Now they're just approximate because every manufacturer is slightly different, and we all know quality control coming out of China. There's lots of different manufacturers building for the same company, so things do vary a little bit, but they're actually quite easy to find if you know where to look. So I'm not gonna tell everyone where I get them from, because if you do a little bit of research and that, you should be able to figure it out. It's pretty simple, and there is a whole heap of these everywhere. So performance out of your Frankentorque. If you're going to build one, you need to build it properly. So that involves you need to shim the magnets as close as you can to the armature. And what that does is it will improve efficiency of the whole motor, and it will reduce the heat. So that it's important that you shim the magnets and get them as close to the armature as you can. And then you need to make sure you shim the armature. So back and forward play, making sure you try and get the armature in the middle of the magnets as much as possible. I've done that on this motor, but unfortunately the motor brush is not probably sitting in the best spot, but I'm okay with that. Once this armature expires, what I'll do is I'll just swap it out and redo it. But at the moment it's performing very well, so that's why I'm not looking at changing it at the moment. I'll just leave it how it is. If you want to shim your magnets to the armature, you need to go to Bunnings or similar hardware store, and you need to pick up some of this, I think it's aluminium tape. And if you go back and have a look at my motor shimming video, you'll see what I do with this, and you'll see how I utilize it to shim the magnets. It's pretty simple. It's a little bit time consuming, but if you want a decent quality Frankentorque, you definitely need that. You're not going to be able to shim your magnets without it. And that's pretty much it, really. That's your basics of building a Frankentorque. I'm not going to go into a step-by-step, because I think if you can build a gearbox and you can build a quality gearbox, then you'll have no problems whatsoever trying to attempt something like this. Maybe you want to start off, if you've never attempted something like that, maybe just start off pulling apart your stock motor and then rebuilding it, and then just moving on from there. But yeah, it's actually pretty simple. Once I did a bit of reading and I just did a bit of experimenting. Yeah, so I thought I'd just share that with everyone. That's pretty much it. If you use the right setup with your gears with a Frankentorque, you will have an extremely fast trigger response, and that's why I have gone this way. So I do prefer CQB, and this does give you a little bit of an edge over someone who's running, say, a stock type blaster or slightly modified. The trigger response of this is extremely fast. So yeah, pair your Frankentorque with the right gear set. That one's a DSG, and it's got a 32 TPA. That one there is a DSG also, but in that one I run at 28 TPA just so I have a little bit more speed. So that one I usually go run full auto, and this one I basically use just semi.